Hi, welcome back to World of the Psychic.
Together we shall cast ourselves into the future.
Seen any aliens lately?
This is a part of America we never get to see.
Are you by chance referring to the legend of the Loch Ness Monster?
A ball of twine that weighs 19,000 pounds.
What is this, nerd porn?
It is about the Templar treasure, but it's also about other things, conspiracy theories, urban legends, and other myths that are true.
You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the
Travel
Oddities
Podcast. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is the Travel Oddities Podcast. I'm Brett Manzer.
And I'm Harley Covington.
Apparently we're having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, if you heard some popping noises, I was jacking with my chair.
Yeah, that's code for jacking with his crotch. Anyways, so today we're going to talk about the Louisiana legend, you hear? The Rougarou, the werewolf of the bayou.
Okay, that's...
No?
I'm not sure, but I feel like that's racist.
How is it racist?
I don't know. It just felt racist to me.
We're talking about a supposed creature, not a specific person.
Right, but it just sounded racist the way you said it. I don't know.
Okay. Look, how do you say Ruger? You have to be able to say there are certain words in certain dialects that in order not to butcher them and in order not to, I don't know, make them sound like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Okay, for instance, when a reporter talks plain Jane English, and then they get to Puerto Rico, you know, you got to say things a certain way.
Yeah.
You have to put the right emphasis on the proper syllable.
Correct.
So, Rougarou.
Now you sound like Scooby-Doo.
Rougarou. Raggy. Row. Anyway, so we're talking today about the Rougarou, which is the werewolf of the bayou, also known as, and there's going to be some cussing and discussing about this, but it's also referred to as the loup-garou.
That is incorrect, but we'll get to that later.
Right. But first...
So today we're talking about the Rougarou.
Or loup-garou.
No.
Why do you refuse to call it the loup-garou?
Because it's a mistake. It's not right. The Rougarou is the Cajun version of the loup-garou, now, which is the French word or the French phrase for werewolf.
Now, let me tell you what mythicalcreatures.com...
Yeah, mythicalcreatures.com are a bunch of jackasses.
According to the mythicalcreatures.com, the loup-garou also can be known as the Rougarou.
No, that is wrong.
But they're also saying it's a French legend?
It is a French... Well, I mean, it's a werewolf.
But here's the thing. This is what I don't understand about this. According to what I've read, the research that I've done, you can change into a Rougarou at will. Now, that's what immediately differentiates itself from your standard werewolf folklore.
There are multiple versions of the werewolf story. You've got...
Right, Teen Wolf.
No, you have a 100 different variations on the same story of a man turning into a wolf concept. So you've got, and we discussed this before. You've got the standard: I got bit by a werewolf and therefore turned into a werewolf. You've got the a magician of some sort gave me a magical belt that turned me into a werewolf.
Right.
You've got the curse of the werewolf. So you're literally, you ticked off a gypsy, which, not being racist, that's the term.
Which in the original Wolfman, with Lon Chaney, he came in contact with a gypsy.
Right.
So,
and then you've got, so I covered the belt, the curse, the bite.
Okay, show's over. There it is. Basically.
But with the Rougarou specifically, there are other ways.
Well, according to my own research, now it sounds like we may be having counterpoint werewolf.
Yes, absolutely.
If you shed the blood of the beast.
Right. So in the case of the Rougarou, if you cut a Rougarou, you turn into a Rougarou. That is not a werewolf in the traditional sense, and it is also not the loup-garou, which is basically the traditional werewolf. And I think the reason there's confusion here is loup-garou is the origin of the Rougarou as far as the stories go. And the French settlers in the Louisiana area called their version the Rougarou. It is not the same as the loup-garou. It has its own lineage, its own story behind it, its own tales that are greatly different than the loup-garou, which is its own thing. So yes, a Rougarou is based on the loup-garou, and they're both werewolves. They are independent of one another, and the terms are not interchangeable.
Say loup-garou, Rougarou, change into a Rougarou 5 times.
No.
Well, so, okay. This is what and this is where we're going to have some blurry lines here. So I'm going to basically go back and tell you what the research I've uncovered. Okay. So legend says that when a person comes into contact with the loup-garou and sheds the blood of the beast, the loup-garou will then change into its human form and reveal their secret. Now, what is their secret to how they've become the creature?
The fact that they are a shape-shifting human.
Now, this is another thing that differentiates itself from other werewolf and lycanthrope stories. The victim then becomes a loup-garou for 101 days.
Right.
Have we figured out why?
No, because it sounded like a good number.
I mean, I don't know. It's 28 days sounds better. If the victim speaks of the encounter to anyone, they can become a loup-garou.
Right, and again,
or a Rougarou.
A Rougarou. We need to be more specific. The way I've read it, the way I see it, the Rougarou is Louisiana's version of the werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was originally derived from the French stories of the loup-garou or wolfman. The monster is most commonly described as a bayou-dwelling werewolf with glowing red eyes and razor-sharp teeth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the description as I interpret it.
Well, when I saw the beast, him had red eyes, and he was eating crawdaddies down there by the swamp.
Now, we saw several things where it said that if you spilled the blood of a Rougarou,
mm-hmm.
you would turn into a Rougarou.
Right, or a loup-garou.
I swear to God, I will kill you. It is not the same thing.
Shed the blood and see what happens. Shed my blood and find out what happens.
So, the beast is usually said to be a cursed man who must shed another's blood in order to break its spell.
Can we just give me let's say I'm a guy looking, I'm shopping around for ways to become immortal or ways to become like a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the Da Vinci codes of like how to become a werewolf. Give me the standard, You
want the Cliff Notes?
Give me the Cliff Notes of how the easiest way to become a werewolf. I'm not shed the blood of this and touch that. And there's even one that says you can turn its victims by just locking its eyes with yours.
Right.
That's even to me. That's the least plausible solution to becoming a werewolf.
There are a
Rougarou.
I think there are as many versions of the Rougarou as there are old people in Louisiana to tell the story.
Right.
They all have their own spin on it.
Mm-hmm. I
which makes it
that.
fun.
It does make it fun. And but they also say that it's not just a werewolf. You can be a shapeshifter as well, and shift into multiple types of animals.
Right. So you could be a werecow.
A werecow. Or a skunk ape. According to the U.S. swamp lore, there is a such thing as a skunk ape that leaves a distinct odor in its wake.
You know what we forgot to mention?
What?
Name of the town? Houma.
Huh?
Houma. Houma.
Houma. Yes.
Louisiana.
Which, do you watch Swamp People? Have you?
No.
Now I can't think of their names, but it's a father and son duo. They're from there.
From Houma?
Yeah.
Is that how it's pronounced?
But that's also a heavily populated Native American area down there as well.
Really?
So, hence probably why there's such a huge amount of those type of sightings. And the shapeshifter lore is usually a Native American belief anyway.
There are a lot of shapeshifters in Native American lore. You're correct.
Yes.
It's not limited to the Native Americans, but they did have a very they had varied lore around shape-shifting in general.
Right.
Most of their gods had shape-shifting abilities of one form or another. They gave human attributes to a lot of non-human things, especially in the pantheon of their gods. So, yes, I agree with you.
So, if you could flip a switch and say, I'm going to shapeshift, what would be your spirit animal? What's your spirit animal?
Badger.
Why?
I don't know. Seems like a good
come
answer.
on, man. You can't back it up.
I got nothing.
You wouldn't want to be a wolf?
Wolves are cool.
I mean, I'm thinking I don't want to be something that's, I don't want to be a sloth, although it would probably be more
suiting.
Right. I want to be at the top of the food chain if I'm going to shapeshift. I want to be a grizzly bear. But the problem with that is my natural predator is a human, and humans are idiots.
Agreed. I would want to do something smaller.
Like a skink.
What's a skink?
It's a little lizard.
No. I was thinking along the lines of something like a ferret.
That could be eaten by a wolf. They have a distinct odor as well.
Do they?
Yeah.
What do they smell like?
A skunk ape.
Skunk ape.
So, but okay, so let's say you're in a situation where at the moment you're a deer, and then here comes a wolf, and you can switch it up and become something else.
That is very Native American, by the way.
Right.
Most of the shape-shifting stories in the Native Americans, they have the ability to shift between forms rather rapidly. So,
okay, but this is what I'm saying. My question to you is...
do I prefer the Native American version where I can switch?
Well,
yes. I want
okay,
the whole
but
catalog.
what would you go bird and be like, I'm out of here?
No.
Or would you go, you know what, wolf?
Grizzly bear.
It's like shark versus zombie,
Right.
I'd rather be the shark.
Yes.
Anyway, so in most Louisiana parishes, the Rougarou myth is employed as a kind of cautionary tale. Children are told that the fiend will come for them if they don't behave,
or if they don't follow Lent.
If they don't follow Lent. Now
right.
that's a biggie in Catholic tradition. As a kid, I know it's going to be hard for you to believe, I followed Lent, and we celebrated Advent. Would I be able to describe for you what exactly that means? That means Lent, you give up something for Lent.
Yeah, and you eat fish sandwiches on Friday.
On Friday. And you go, yummy, every time. And I quit. When I became 18 years old is when I decided I'm going to eat a hamburger on Friday.
All right.
I make my own rules.
So you don't believe in the supernatural?
The supernatural. The power of darkness. It's all true.
I do believe in the supernatural. I also believe in Hardee's, at the time, Hardee's double cheeseburgers. No, I mean, and that's the other thing, too. It's like, if we went into people's scare tactics to keep people in their religious lines, if you know what I mean, to keep them on the right track,
right?
We could easily talk about a lot of different things that would probably be controversial, but
like I'm lost. Explain to me.
Okay. Let's pretend, golly, I'm about to step into something here. There have been scare tactics throughout the centuries to keep people to get people to do the right thing.
Yes.
There's probably been some over exaggerations about what hell's like, or some, you know what I mean? If you don't do this, you're going to get eaten by worms,
or if you touch yourself, you're going to go blind. Or
I don't know about blind, but I am nearsighted. I don't know. I think it's more of a scare tactic than anything else.
It is, and I think that's part of it. That's one of the reasons why there are so many versions of the story. There are a lot of grandmothers in Louisiana that like scaring kids straight.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do drugs, or the Lougarou will get you, or Rougarou.
Don't wear a condom, and you're going to catch the Rougarou disease.
You're going to get AIDS.
AIDS.
That's how you become a Rougarou. AIDS.
Are you positive?
HIV.
You aren't? You're HIV positive? Well, the Rougarou, it represents so many different things for so many different people, For some, it's the boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
For some, it's something that's been passed down from generation to generation. There are still sightings of these creatures, but
yeah, it's said to prowl around the swamps in and around Acadiana and Greater New Orleans,
right?
Also fields and forest in the area, and it's most often described as a creature with a human body and the head of a wolf or a dog, similar to the werewolf legend, and it's often used to inspire fear and obedience in kids. So that's that.
Is it really just that?
It is that. And then you've got the weird stuff, the 101 days. You're said to be under its spell for 101 days after coming in contact with it.
That sounds like a cycle of like antibiotics. You have to take these for 101 days.
And then you're not allowed to tell anybody. If you tell somebody that you're a Rougarou, they become a Rougarou.
Would you tell anybody,
though? You can no longer be cured.
Would you tell anybody you're a Rougarou? It'd be hard not to brag about it. Like, dude, check this out. Watch me wolf out.
I don't know. I don't see the appeal. I don't see that it's.
But apparently,
helpful.
If you become a werewolf, you can lead your high school basketball team to the championship.
Correct.
You can surf on your best friend Styles' van.
Yes, you can.
You can wolf out. You can wolf out during the basketball game.
Correct.
And it also, if you couldn't spin a basketball on your finger before you turn into a werewolf, you can spin a basketball on your finger. Bite a beer. You can bite a beer and drink a beer by biting the side of it.
Aside from the Teen Wolf references, I don't see the benefit of becoming a werewolf. A vampire, I see. You live forever. You're immune to whatever. There are certain benefits there. Turning into a wolf against your will.
Okay, shitting in public
sounds like a pain in the ass.
Would you look better shitting in public as a naked man or as a werewolf?
But is that something you can control? I mean, could you be like halfway through and then
halfway through your transformation,
or halfway through your going to the bathroom in the?
My question is, how do they do it? Like, you know how a dog, they get like this like look on their face when they're taking a shit. And they're like looking around, like hoping nobody. It's almost like that look, like they don't want somebody. They're afraid someone's going to come up behind them and go, "Ha!" What is that? Does a werewolf? Are they similar? Do they change into like this, like timid, like just let me shit, just don't bother me while I'm trying to take a shit?
I don't think that's the way that
I will
works.
tell you this much: there is I can lend a lot of credence to taking a shit out in the open. The time we went to the river,
yes,
and I just pulled my shorts down, just stood up, and just kind of stood up and leaned out, and it was like, okay,
I didn't witness this.
I was like,
You're
was
telling
the most
the story like in a very.
But there are certain things that you do. We're primal anyway. There are certain things you do in nature that immediately when you're done, you're ready to just go hunt something with a spear. There's just like this primal instinct that takes over. So when I took a dump in the bright wide open, I was ready to just eat a raw fish or something. So what I'm saying is I guess what I'm saying, it really has nothing to do with being a Rougarou and taking a dump out in the open.
Yeah,
people won't look at you funny. They go, "Oh, there's a."
But I think you can.
There's a man dog.
You can go take a dump in the woods And there aren't going to be very many people around to watch you.
Okay,
if you're
let me ask you this.
not on a hiking trail that's...
Have you ever not had to go to the bathroom, and the minute you get to, like, the scenic outlook or the camping spot, you got to go to the bathroom?
No.
It never happens to you?
Never happens.
There are two instances where I have to go to the bathroom immediately. Nature and Hastings.
Okay.
And I don't know, and I've tried to analyze why. I think maybe it's because, I don't know, maybe it's because my nerves are like, Hastings is like my, you go through and you want to, touch everything. Oh my God, I want to buy something. I don't know if it's just my nerves or if I equate it to some type of, I just turn into like this primal Blu-ray beast.
That is...
So nature and Hastings.
horrible.
Yeah. So back to the Native American thing. The creature spelled Rougarou derives from the Native American First Nation legends. There are some disputes on the pronunciation of the name. I think it's a Lougarou, and Harley thinks it's a Rougarou, and somebody else thinks it's Ragu.
That is disputed though. There is some dissension that this has anything to do with the Native American story, and that it's just a coincidence that the names are similar, since you have such a strong connection to the Loup-garou and the French community that's there.
Well, it's also been described as being like a mild Bigfoot. The creatures are also known to be cannibalistic to Native American or Native Canadian wendigos, and some dispute the connection between these folk tales and the what is that? Francophony? Francophony?
Yeah, I'm not.
Anyway,
I don't agree with the connections between Bigfoot or the Wendigo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a werewolf,
right? Plain, pure, and simple.
That is my personal opinion, and I can handle the hate mail if you want to email me, Harley@traveloddities.com, and I'll listen to your story. But in all honesty, it's not there for me. The Wendigo is a completely separate creature. It's not recognized as being part of the cryptids of the area.
It ain't from around here.
Right. But back to the Catholic thing. So we've got the stories about Lent, but there were some... Okay, so the way I see it, according to the legends, if you don't celebrate Lent, the Rougarou's going to get you.
Well, in that case, he's got me.
But there's another version of that where if you don't celebrate Lent for 7 years, you become a Rougarou. Now, one of those negates the other. Obviously, if the Rougarou kills you for not celebrating Lent, then you don't make it 7 years to become a Rougarou yourself. But there's a whole lot of Catholic influence here.
There's a whole lot of, I was raised Catholic. There's a whole lot of pressure to being Catholic. We have to do the confession. We have to go to communion. We have to do this or else this. Now, the or else this can be, well, mainly, it's you're going to go to hell.
I thought it was going to be your mom beat your butt.
Well, that too, but you're going to go to hell. Now I got to worry about being manhandled by a Rougarou.
Yeah.
If I don't do Lent. How do they know I'm not doing Lent?
How
do they know I quit eating chocolate for Lent?
They know. They're in league with the Catholic priests. There's a newsletter that goes out from the Catholic priest to the Rougarou.
The Rougarou
community.
newsletter?
Yes. And you don't want to be on that list.
I do not want to be in the Rougarou newsletter.
Absolutely not.
The Bugle. The the Rougarou Bugler.
Right. That would be a bad place to find your name.
So, what do you take from all of it? I like werewolves, man.
I love werewolves.
I think, okay, on a battle to the death, and this isn't you, we're not talking your dark arts.
Okay.
Vampire. If you had to choose, vampire, werewolf.
I already said vampires have cooler powers.
Yeah, but they're kind of like
mind control.
Yeah, but they're so sensual.
Yeah.
They're romantic. That's what they're. That's how they lure. That's their Venus flytrap, man. Is they're like so smooth and like I love you and we can love each other eternally forever. And the girl's like, okay, and he's like, and bites her neck, and she's like, oh, with a werewolf, there's no romance. If he doesn't kill you by accident, then you can become a werewolf.
Right.
Because a werewolf's not going to come to you and go, and like hug you.
Werewolves of London.
I mean, I like the brutality. Now, depending on what vampires we're talking about. Now, have you seen 30? You've surely seen 30 Days of Night.
Yes.
Fantastic vampire movie.
Right. No.
Does it make you want to not get lost in like the Arctic or in Alaska?
One of the things that I noticed about that movie that I really liked is it echoed The Thing.
It did. It really did.
The cold, dark freakiness of being in a polar area.
Right. And it just felt desolate. It felt like with the overhead shot when the vampires are like running through the town and the blood is just like being shot all over the snow in like buckets. A feral vampire, one that's starved and hungry and doesn't want to fall in love. That's my kind of vampire, because they're less they're humanoid in appearance, but by behavior they're just a feral creature by nature.
Right. I see what you're getting at, but I'm going to stick with my original thesis that
You want to live forever. But dude, think about it. Think about the loss that you have to experience.
What? Sunlight?
No, everybody dies.
Everybody dies anyway.
I know that, but you never...
You can meet new people.
Okay, but the point is, unless you want to make friends with a baby, that is going to be around for the next 40 years, and you watch them grow, like, you watch people die, you float from century to century.
Yeah, and you get to be around for all of the cool shit.
But you can't. What do you eat? You don't. You just drink. Could you handle not eating meat? All they do is drink blood.
I don't prescribe to that particular version. I like the version where they can eat food. They just gain sustenance from blood.
You're so weird, man. So no werewolves for you.
I think I wouldn't voluntarily go out and become a werewolf. No.
Okay, then. In a battle of blood versus brawn, who wins?
Vampires versus werewolves? Mm-hmm. Vampires.
Not ultimately, yes, because there's a laundry list of things you can do to kill a werewolf.
Right. You can.
I mean, for God's sakes, in some tales, werewolves can't cross running water, right?
Yes.
But the same goes for vampires.
Correct. In almost every single supernatural thing has at least one instance of it not being able to pass across running water.
Like me.
Like Brett, Jeffrey.
I almost died in the river because I can't cross it.
No, you can't stay afloat in it.
I can stay afloat in the ocean.
You're not buoyant.
The saltwater thing. But I'm sorry. I'm going to take a werewolf because I think a werewolf's going to slice and dice a freaking vampire up, and it's over.
It just turns into mist and floats away and comes back and...
Oh, God, stop. See, you're just making it up.
I'm not making it up.
You're making this vampire thing up as you go.
How?
It's like playing pretend like, well, my superpowers is I can block all of your superpowers. And then I come up with, well, my other superpower is I can diminish your superpowers just by doing this.
But is that not a thing? That's not a real vampire, a piece of the vampire lore that they can turn into mist?
Am I offering?
Fog?
I'm not saying it isn't.
Okay.
But look, in a fair fight, Let's take all.
What is a fair fight between a werewolf and a vampire?
Let's cancel out all of the vampire's apparent special Mortal Kombat abilities.
Okay, so let's cancel out all let's take all the werewolf special abilities, like the ability to regenerate and the ability
I just said fight to the death.
Have a 7,000 pound per square inch bite, and then
that's like saying a dog isn't allowed to bite their normal bite.
Right, and you're saying that a vampire can't turn into mist.
What I'm saying, oh my God, what I'm saying is, in a battle of sheer will and power, no guns, no knives, it's a brawl.
Okay.
Who wins, werewolves or vampires? And I say to you, you can't use your special abilities. I can't regenerate. Biting is instinctual. Turning into a mist is a special ability.
Okay.
So, who wins?
I don't know. I don't know what to include and what not to include in your mythical fight to the death.
Include ability to fight.
Okay, superhuman strength versus super dog strength.
Okay. See, superhuman strength, is that part of the vampire repartee?
Yes.
I've never read that.
Oh, my God.
Edward in Twilight didn't have superhuman powers. Did he?
Yes, they all did. In that lame movie, they all had super ridiculous strength. I mean, if you're going to knock down a tree and use it as a baseball bat, you're probably pretty damn strong.
And the ability to run weirdly through the forest.
Yes.
Okay.
And to make googly eyes.
So we will call
girl.
this a draw.
Okay.
Anyway, so moving on. Sorry.
So there are some there's some Rougarou sweetness in the South. Mm-hmm. So you have the Rougarou Fest, which happens in October in Houma. How do you say Houma? Houma.
Rougarou.
It happens every October.
Yep.
The proceeds go to preserve the surrounding wetlands. It's a pretty cool idea, I guess, to take advantage of the legend of the Rougarou. Speaking of taking advantage of the legend of the Rougarou, the New Orleans Audubon Zoo has an exhibit on the Rougarou that features a life-size mannequin of what the Rougarou is thought to look like, mm-hmm. which is interesting. There was also an image of the Native American version of the Rougarou, which I thought was
the Loup-garou.
No, the Rougarou, which I thought was completely ridiculous.
You're taking this one. This feels like Harley's passion project.
Not at all.
Like we're in his wheelhouse.
No, I don't prescribe to the thought that the Rougarou is a Native American myth, or that it is the same thing as the loup-garou. They're not interchangeable. The loup-garou in France didn't have any weird garbage about looking it in the eyes and turning it into a loup-garou or any of that junk. That is only the Rougarou. And I think by using those terms interchangeably, you're taking away the identity of the Rougarou and you're homogenizing the whole thing.
Right.
Which I'm opposed to for the sake of our show. All cryptids are not the same. If I go to Louisiana and I have to run into a cryptid, I want it to be the Rougarou and not the goddamn Wendigo.
Okay, so along the same lines, if you're looking for a skunk ape and not a Bigfoot, but they have the same attributes, but because they call it skunk ape here on the East Coast, they call it Sasquatch on the
it is my contention
Midwest coast.
It is my contention that they are not the same thing. They are independent. The lore might have drawn heavily from the Sasquatch, but the skunk ape is its own creature. And it has its own rights under the Constitution of the Travel Oddities podcast.
Sure. Yep, it does.
Its own rights and responsibilities.
So,
scare the shit out of the people in your skunk ape community.
I just want to see one. I think it'd be cool.
A skunk
But,
ape?
well, anything.
Or a Rougarou?
Rougarou.
I don't want to see a Rougarou.
You want to see a loup-garou.
I don't want to see a Loup-garou.
Why? Because if you look at it, you become one.
Because they're mean.
You said
I
earlier,
want to see some nice cryptids.
you wanted to be a badger earlier. Those are mean.
Yeah, but a were-badger
A were-badger?
be cool.
Anyways.
So there's a whole lot of, again, the confusion between the Loup-garou and the Rougarou bleeds over. And so they say that the Rougarou shows up in a lot of TV shows, movies, books, things of that nature. And it's not really the case. What they're doing is they went out and found every instance of the Loup-garou showing up in a movie and saying, that's the Rougarou. It's not. So you really only have the History channels in search of kind of shows.
I can impersonate the Louisiana Rougarous. How?
Okay, go for it.
Aye.
Okay, that's pretty solid.
You like that?
Yes.
So we're at the part of the show now.
Yes.
Is it? Are we at dark? Are we at dark arts yet?
Absolutely. Let's talk about how you defend yourself against a Rougarou. I'm going to go with straight up silver bullets. That's
Okay.
a thing. You need to actively follow lint. That's a thing.
If that's the case, then I've had both of my butt cheeks bitten off by a Rougarou.
Well, now you need to carry silver bullets. Is all I'm saying.
Okay.
What else? You've got the story that we stumbled across that if you take a leaf from the swamp that the Rougarou is supposed to inhabit and wrap it in a piece of cloth and carry it with you, the Rougarou will leave you alone. I'm not sure why that would be a thing, but apparently that's part of the lore.
Yep.
So if you're afraid the Rougarou's coming, get a leaf, wrap it up, stick it in your pocket, hang on to it.
So back to the lint thing.
Yes.
The only way I know to follow lint is you have to give something up. As long as I'm eating fish on Friday, I'm not going to get killed by a Rougarou.
Is that the only requirement of lint, Mr.
Fish on Friday, you're not to eat meat.
On Friday.
Red meat.
On Friday.
On Friday. Or chicken.
Or chicken.
Or Spam.
Is that meat?
Ish.
Ish.
And you also give something up for
Okay.
lint.
So if you follow lint, then you should be cool?
Yeah.
And then you don't spill its blood. Don't look at it. If you see one, avert your eyes. Run away.
Cryptids be damned. This might be the most complicated of all cryptids.
I think it's because of the crossover. I think people, they want to give it all the superpowers. They want to lump it in with the Loup-garou and the Windigo, and if you start doing that, then you end up with Superman, who has no invulnerability and can shoot tiny Supermans out of his fingers.
And pisses on a fire hydrant.
I'm confused by that comment.
Well, the Rougarou, being a werewolf, don't they have to mark their territory?
Ah, I see. Okay. So what other ways can you defeat the Rougarou?
Wolfman's got nards.
Kick him in the nards.
Definitely kick him in the nards.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think that's about it on the destruction of the Rougarou, or at least just not becoming one yourself.
So evidently I have to, because I'm not going back to the lint thing. In order to deter the Rougarou, which we're safe here. We don't have werewolves in where we're at, do we?
Yes, actually.
In Lawton there are.
Lawton, Oklahoma.
There's some werewolves.
We may do a show?
We may do a show there.
About the werewolves of Lawton?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I think so.
All right, so moving forward, what is there to do?
In Houma?
Yeah. Now, Houma, is it close to Lafayette?
It is close to Lafayette.
Okay. Yuma. No, it's Houma.
Are you sure? I really don't know.
Yeah. So what are we doing now?
You're supposed to be covering for me while I look stuff up on the internet.
If you have a chance while we're doing research, check us out. Facebook, Travel Oddities Podcast. Let us know Is it a loup-garou or is it a rougarou?
It's a rougarou.
Also, we're going to post on the Facebook a question that you're required to answer. No stalkers allowed. You have to answer this question. Vampires versus werewolves, who wins? Minus all of the damn superpowers. I'm calling bullshit on turning into a mist.
Okay.
Because that's right up there with it turning into a damn bat. No.
Why no? That's a thing. That is part of the history.
It's a part of the Bela Lugosi history of vampires.
Who the hell's Bela Lugosi? You mean Bela Lugosi?
Yeah. Bela Lugosi.
This is my cousin Bela.
Bela? Yes, so on the Facebook page, we're going to put that question on there. Who wins, vampires versus werewolves? And loup-garou or rougarou? Who do you pick?
It's Rougarou. So, Houma.
You're a rougarou.
Best burgers in Houma.
Okay.
We're just going to do the top 5 restaurants to get a good burger in Houma. Or Yuma. Or Houma. Houma. Okay. Number 1, The Duke.
Cool. Looks like, was it get 4.5 stars, it looks like?
Solid 4.5 stars. One of the comments, just be forewarned that they do not use seasonings or sweet seasoning on the fries. Number 2, 531 Liberty Cafe. One of the comments, they have really good edamame hummus as an appetizer.
Oh, wow. I've had edamame hummus. It's good.
Is it?
Do you eat hummus?
I'm not a fan.
Why? Texture?
I don't know.
You don't like chickpeas?
No.
No. Chicken.
Number 3, New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company.
I could go to Louisiana and just eat my way through Louisiana.
That is exactly what the Rougarou is doing.
Are you a seafood guy?
Negatory.
Why?
I might actually have a shellfish allergy or a selfish allergy.
You do have a selfish allergy because nobody is allowed to eat seafood when they're with Harley because somebody's got a little bitch allergy.
I'm not a fan, but it aggravates. It's not bad. I won't, break out in hives or anything, but it's not good because of the itchy throat feel.
I've never met anybody with a shellfish allergy.
Number 4 on our list.
Yeah.
The Pit Stop 2.
Cool.
Listed or is described as being your classic hole-in-the-wall diner.
I love those.
Me too.
Yeah.
Number 5, Coley's Cafe. They do a lot of different stuff, panini, soup, salads, that sort of stuff. But got solid reviews on Yelp, so if you're in the area and looking in Houma,
yeah,
looking for the Rougarou, and you want to get yourself
some Rougarou,
check out those places. So what else we got?
I think that pretty much covers it, doesn't it?
We covered Houma. We covered the Rougarou. We don't agree on anything.
I'll tell you what. Let's go over real quick, kind of a brief overview of what we talked about today.
Okay.
So we've determined that it's not loup-garou, that the Rougarou is a byproduct of the loup-garou.
Yes.
And no.
Kind of.
Okay.
So originally based on the loup-garou.
Okay. There is about 1,000 ways to become a Rougarou.
Yes. And it takes 101 days to do that or not to do that or to kill it or something.
Okay, but what we didn't ask is when you're a Rougarou, do you have a dog penis or a human penis?
Man of a body, head of a dog, head of a wolf. So I'm going to go with human penis.
Covered in hair?
No.
Cool. If there was any way I could get Harley to say, under the words, human penis.
This is the part of the show where I say, I hate Brett with a white-hot passion.
Does he sit down? Does he squat to pee?
No, he stands.
So what? But here's the thing: what part of if his head of a dog, then he would think like a dog, not a human, correct?
Right.
Okay, so
Dogs stand to pee.
And do they do you still have to separate them from each other with a water hose?
Yes,
And
you do.
And they walk around and kind of air hump for a little bit until they get.
I'm pretty sure if you're a Rougarou, when you're in the Rougarou form, you're just killing shit.
You mate as a human and you kill as a Rougarou.
Right.
Okay. Well, I didn't know.
I think that's my interpretation.
Because dogs, again, if he's got a head like a dog's, dogs eat, sleep, shit, and hump.
That's pretty much it.
But
there was no full moon aspect.
Yeah, there was none of that.
Again, I think Rougarou's its own thing.
And no nightshade. They're part of the mythos of werewolves is to cure the wolf, you have to have nightshade or something like that.
Cool. So
wait, one other thing.
Okay.
Nature in Hastings, books and more makes me shit.
Yes, books and trees, any wood products.
And I don't know if there's any scientific validity to it, but when I get in nature, like when we went to go camp at that Lake Jed Johnson, when we first got there, we both had to go take it down.
Yes.
So
why do we have to talk about crapping so much on our show?
It's a big part of the day.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No.
No.
It's a very small percentage of the day.
Well, anyway.
Unless you're living there.
Well.
This has been Travel Oddities. This has been Travel
Oddities. Shabba, sorry.
Thanks for listening. I'm Harley Covington.
I'm Brett Manzer.
Like us on Facebook.
Please.
Travel Oddities Podcast. Give us a review on iTunes.
Please.
5 stars. We need it.
5 stars even if you hate us.
Even if you hate us.
Really. It takes nothing to rate. If we're being seen, if you're listening to this right now, because we know there are people that listen to this right now, give us a 5-star review.
Yes. And send us your ideas for the show. Put them on Facebook. Send them to our email addresses, Brett or Harley at traveloddities.com.
Right.
Yeah. Let us know what you want us to do a show about.
Right. Or let us know that you hate us.
Yeah. Tell us to stop doing